Hello everyone, this is Suresh from Azure ADB. Today our topic is how to extract year, month and day from date column. So extracting date components from an existing date or timestamp column by using these three syntaxes. Suppose if you want to extract an year from your date column as an integer, so we have to use year, and inside that argument we need to provide column name. And at the similar way, if you want to extract the month as an integer, so we have to write month, and inside that we need to provide argument as date column. At the same way, if you want to extract the day of the month as an integer, so we can follow either of the syntax. So one is day of the month, and inside that we need to provide date column, or simply day of date column. So both will give you same result. We can use either of the both. So first what I'm doing, I'm importing required functions here. So mainly year, month, day, day of month. So these both are same. And for doing some aggregation, I am importing count, sum, and concat underscore ws. So first scenario is how to extract year, month, and day from your date column. So for this, I'm creating one sample data frame. So this is my data, and I'm creating with single column. So my column name is order underscore date, and order underscore date, it has these date values. So since I'm creating single column, so I have single value with comma. So by using spark.create data frame, I'm creating the data frame initially, and here data, I'm passing this one, and since it is single column, I'm defining here only. So if I create initial data frame by using this code, so my column will become create as string data type. So to convert the string data type column to date type column, so here I'm doing conversion by using with column on this order date column. So here I'm defining the call of order underscore date, and here I'm using dot cast date method. So after converting this one, so my column now it is printing as date column. And if you see data type, this is date type. So next, what I'm doing on top of that, so here for extracting these three items like year, month, and day, so we can follow either of these method. So method one is from SQL.functions. So we can directly import year, month, day, and day of the month. So here you can write day of month. Okay, so first we can import these functions. Then on top of sample data frame, here I am using with column method. In this with column, here I'm extracting four columns. So one is year, month, day. So day is two columns. Why? Because here I'm trying with two different functions. So one function we have this one day, one more is day of the month. So both will give you the same result. So either you can use day of the month of call or day of call. So to show the difference, I'm creating both the columns. Maybe you can change this one. This is a day and this is day of month for simplify. So now syntax is, so for generate extracting year column, so we need to write year, and inside we need to provide the date column. So here date column is order underscore date. So call of order underscore date. And similar way for extracting month. So month of argument as column date. And similar way for extracting date, so we need to provide inside date column name here. And similar way date of month, and inside that we need to provide column of date. So this is one method, like first importing the functions from SQL.function. And second method is, if you don't want to import all these things, so you can simply import PySpark.sql, import functions as f. So you can mention f here, f dot year, f dot month, f dot day, f dot day of the month. And inside that, you provide f dot column name, date column name. Okay, so you can follow either of the method. So here what I followed is I imported the functions here. Then I'm defining this one, year, month, day, and day of the column. So all these things I'm extracting on top of this date column, order dot date. So on top of sample data frame, so I'm generating 4 additional columns, that is year, month, day, and day of the month. So if I see my initial data frame, if I take screenshot, so this is my initial data frame. So on top of this, what I will get is, so on top of this data frame, I am generating 4 more additional columns. Okay, so since order column already there, so no need of screenshot. So now if you see here in first column, I am extracting year. So from this date, what is the year? 2026. So that is printing here. And a similar way for second row, here year is 2025. So here it extracted. So here also 2025. Here these two also 2025. Okay, so all the year values it extracted here. At the similar way in month column, so this one, it is extracting month here. If you see in this particular date, so month is 02. So we are getting 2 here. Here month is 12. So we are getting 12 here. And these three, this month is 01. So we are getting ones here. And a similar way, I'm generating one more column, that is a day. In this value, date is 16. So I'm getting 16. So here 31, date is 31, I'm getting 31. So here 1 is there, 1. Here date is 10, 10. Here 28 is there, 28. And similar way, day of the month, this also will give same values. If you see these two, it will give same values because function is different, but purpose is same, to extract the date values from date column. And if you observe all these 4 are integer columns. See, all are integer column. So our input column is date type, and whatever extracted values are integer type. So same thing it is mentioned here. If you see initial, so whatever you extract here, all are integer types. So now we completed up to here. So next, whatever we performed means whatever generated these 4 additional columns on top of existing data frame, and it has date column. Now I want to do same thing by using current date function. That means based on today's date, I want to generate the columns. So for this, I'm using SQL here, %SQL. So here I'm writing select. So first I'm generating today's date here. Today's date I'm printing here by using current underscore date. So my column name is today, that is this one. So I'm printing today's date. And from this column, I want to extract the year. So for that, what I given year, as per syntax, first we need to write the year. So inside that, we need to provide the date column name. Since we are using current underscore date, so I'm passing this function. So year of current underscore date. So that means from this value, this year it will extract here, 2026. And at the same time, month of current date. So current date means this value will get. So month of current date means here 2 is there. So that 2 it print here. So similar way, day of current date. That means from this value, day is 21. So that it prints here. And similar way, week of year. So week of year means this particular date falls on which week of the year. So that means this 2000 February 21, 2026 February 21. February 21 means it comes here. And if you see this is falls on which week? So week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6, week 7, week 8. So we are getting week 8 as the week of year. At this similar way, suppose I want to get the quarter. So this particular, that means today's date falls on which quarter? Since today date is 2/21, that means February, it falls on first quarter. So first quarter is from January to March. So here it printing 1, quarter as 1. So next thing is here I'm importing few functions here. Same thing, only quarter I imported. So we have two more methods here. So whatever here generated by using current underscore date. So same thing I want to try with uh, by using PySpark. So here I tried with the SQL. So here I want to try with PySpark. So in PySpark, so again we have two different methods to generate same thing. So in this first method is by using spark dot create data frame, and inside that this is first a list of tuple I'm passing. So while creating data frame, so we can use different methods. So one is a list of tuple or list of list or a dictionary we can use. So here I'm using list of tuple, and in this tuple I'm passing only one record, one value I'm passing, and my column name is dummy. So why I'm passing only one is, so here I created one record, one value. So here also I want to generate one row. So for that I given one. So my output will be like this. Column name is dummy and it will generate one row, single row. Since I mentioned one, it will generate single row. So now on top of this data frame, df.select, I am using same code here. So whatever I written earlier, current date, year, month, day, week of year, quarter, same thing I'm writing here. So we'll get same result. So here in this select, I'm not given this column name dummy. So that's why it's not showing here dummy. So if you want to dummy, if you want column dummy also, then you write select statement, you add this dummy also. So you will get dummy column also here. So this is one method like spark.create data frame, writing tuple. And one more method is so spark.range1. So if you write spark.range1, what will happen? Spark by default, it will give you the column name as ID. And since we mentioned range as 1, so since range will start from 0, it printing 0. And on top of this data frame, df.select, same line of code I'm passing. So now what will happen? So df.select will get same result will get. And here also, here while writing this code, we are getting ID column. But here I'm not added this ID. So that is the reason you are not getting that ID. So if you add ID here in select statement, you will get ID also. But why we are writing this one? Spark.range one and here list of tuple as one, because we need one row. That means this output is one row. Suppose if you want 5 rows here, then you can change to this one to 5. And at the same way, spark.range you can change to 5. So that instead of one row, you will get 5 rows. Okay, so now we'll start two different methods. So next scenario is how to create a new date column using year, month, day. So that means I have already one data frame. For that data frame, I want to add one new column that should generate year, month, and day. So that means a date I want to generate. So for that, what I'm doing, so I'm creating sample data frame. So my data is this list of tuples. So here I have 5 records and my column names are ID and date. So spark dot create data frame and this data I'm passing here, and here column names are ID and date. So ID, date. So now if I create by using this one, what I will get, my date column will be string type. So to convert from string to data type, here I'm using with column method by using cast. So I'm changing this column by using cast method to date. So what will happen if you see here? So now my date column is date, not string. So on top of this, top of this data frame, so that means this data frame, what will get? These two columns will get. So this is a date column. These two columns will get. So now on top of this data frame, that means on top of these two columns, I am adding one more column, that is new underscore date. By using with column, I am generating new underscore date. And here I am using this concat underscore ws. So what is concat underscore ws is we can join multiple uh, columns by using separator as colon. Okay, so concat underscore ws. So in this, my first column is, that means my first value is year of column date. So year of column date means what? If you see here in this, suppose if you take this record, so here column date is this one, and in this value year means what it is, 2022, and for that I'm adding 1. So 2022 plus 1, 2023 I will get. So that is year. And so that means first it will generate year. And second one is month. So month of call date. So from this, what is month? 01. Okay, so 01 plus 1, we are adding 1. So this 1 become 2. And at the same time, day of month, call of date plus 1. So this is 1, 1 plus 1 become 2. So, and between these three values, since we are mentioning separator colon, so that we are getting here. So first it will generate 2023, then this colon, then this is 2, then colon, then this is 2. And similar way for everything. For remaining records also, it will generate like this. Means it will generate similar. But since it is concat underscore ws, we will get in data type as string. Okay, so this is one of the method we can create a new column with date values. So next scenario is how to group these date column using year, month, and day. So for this, I am creating one sample data frame. So this is my data, and this data I created with three columns. So one is ID, this is ID, and second one is transaction underscore date, third one is amount. So if I create this one by using this function, so my date column will come by default string data type. So that one I'm converting here string to date type by using with column transaction date, that is this column, and sales underscore df, that is our this data frame, initial data frame. So from this data frame we are selecting transaction underscore date, and by using cache method we are converting to date. So if you see here, so that is the reason it's coming directly date type. Suppose if you print initially here itself display sales underscore df, this column will be as string type. Okay, so since I'm directly using with column with cache method, so it directly converted to date type. So now I have my data frame, and in this one column I have with the date type, and I have this one integer column, that is amount. So on top of this data frame, I am going to perform some group by aggregate functions. So for doing aggregate functions, I am calling here sum and count. So here, this aggregation method, we can follow two different methods. So first method is hunt sample data frame. Sample data frame is this one, ID transaction underscore date amount. So on this data frame, I am directly doing group by, and inside that I am passing these three line of code. So one is for generating the year value, one more is for generating the month value, and third one is for generating the day. And on top of this group by, after generating these three columns, so that's how here it is created these three columns. So it created these three columns, that is year, month, and a day. After creating these three columns, I want to do aggregation. So what aggregation I want to do? So one is count. So under aggregation, I am writing two lines of code. So one is for count, one is for sum. So first I want to get the count. So here I'm giving count star, and alias name I given count. So that means column name is count. And the second one is sum of amount. That alias is total underscore sales. So by using these three columns, I'm generating these two columns. So now we'll see how this count is generated. Now, if you see sample data frame, this is our sample data frame, and we are doing aggregation based on year, month, and date. So that means, so whatever we have same date, then those two, it will get grouped by together. So 2022 01 01. So here we have two values. So here we have two values. If you see here, so 2022. So 2022, 2022 1 1. So that is this one. 2022 1 1. So that we have count as two rows we have. So that's why it's showing two. And similar way, if you see the sum, since these two rows, it adding these two values, 100 plus 250. So here we are getting 350. So next we'll go for next aggregation. So this is our next 2023, 1, 2. So we have three values we have. 1, 2. Okay, three values we have. So since we are doing aggregation based on year, month, date, so we have count is 3 and amount is if you add these three values 200, 450, 600 you will get. Count is 3 and sum is 600. And similar way, if you go for next aggregation, next one is 2023 1 3. So we have only one value here with this. So we'll get count as 1 and amount will be 150. If you see here, count is 1 and amount is 150. And if you go for next aggregation, 2024 to 1. So we have two values here. So now count is 2 and aggregation is 300 plus 200, 500. So count is 2, aggregation is 500. And next aggregation is 5th month. This value, we have only one value. So count will be 1 and amount will be 500. So count is 1, amount is 500. And if you come next aggregation, 2026 to 2. So we have two values. That means count is 2 and amount is 300, 500. Sorry, 400. 250 plus 150, 300, 400. So count is 2 and amount is 400. Count is 2, amount is 400. Okay, so if you write inside group by, if you write these three functions, by default, it will generate these three columns. And on top of these three columns, it will generate these aggregation columns. So this is method 1. And what is method 2 is, first we'll generate the columns. This is our sample data frame. On top of sample data frame, we are adding these three columns. So one is year, month, day. So year is year of transaction date column, year of column, and month of date column, and day of month of date column. So now what will happen? It will add three columns. So these three columns it will add. So final underscore df. That means these three columns, and on top of that we are doing group by. Okay, so group by of year, month, date. So these three columns and dot aggregation and these two count and sum. So result will be same. So only way of writing code is different. Okay, so next one is, as of now we saw about how to do group by separately. That means based on month, based on year, date, and month. So by giving separate conditions. Now we'll see how to do group by using full date. So if you only want daily grouping, so then what we can do is on top of our sample data frame, I'm using directly group by on column. So column name mentioning here, group by dot column and dot aggregation. I want these two aggregations. See here in group by condition, I'm not writing any separate conditions like year, month, date. So directly I'm selecting this column, date column, and I'm doing aggregation on this. So here also you'll get same result. Okay, so one way is grouping by year, month, and date. One more is grouping by full date. So these are all the operations we can perform on by using functions year, month, and day on date column. So that's all about this video. If you really like this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you.